So many of you probably following this webcast, so you exactly know what we just did was to practicing with 3 precious pills and entering into the inner refuge. And I hope that many of you have a glimpse of experiences of the inner refuge, which is the true source of healing. When we were talking about the true source of healing last many months, so basically the only way to feel connection to the true source of healing is through the 3 precious pills, and to actually experience the essence of elements in their deep qualities. It's only way to do that is to connect with the refuge or true source. And once we connect with that qualities, whatever the elemental quality that you're working on, if the moment we connect with that, that is the moment when you are retrieving. Basically, when we say the concept of retrieving, is the moment you're aware, you're retrieving. If, for example, if you feel that your life has so much gift in your life and that you see that at that moment, and you feel very joyful. So moment you are joyful because what you see in your life, that joy, experiences of joy is what you're retrieving to heal. So same way, each of these elemental qualities, when you're aware of this specific quality, then you are retrieving those qualities from the true source. So that's what we have been doing for last many months. So I hope that you all are continuing and feeling support by these webcasts and all the other materials that we provide. So here I'm going to trying to go through a few questions. So one of the question here with Irenia is, when the soul is lost, does it happen all at once, or can it happen gradually and get worse? So first of all, probably many of you already know that concept of soul is the balance of 5 essential elements in our life. So according to the Burn tradition, it says sometime it can happen that in one moment you lose a lot of that quality. Like, for example, if somebody has an accident, somebody have a very deep, like a very powerful kind of nightmare or something, or somebody who loses a very close ones, loved ones, like a mother loses the child or something like that. For example, one time somebody was telling me a story that when she lost her grandfather, who was basically everything for her, grandpa was father, mother, friend, support, which provided all the elemental qualities, because she did not really have that closeness to the father or the mother. So when the grandfather passed away, and she just lost a lot of qualities, and particularly she felt like she lost a grounding quality in her life. And since then, so for her adulthood, many moments she felt that like very difficult to ground herself, find with jobs, or able to stick a specific job, or one specific thought, or even a relationship with finding a man, trying to able to connect that level. She felt like very much affected by that. So sometimes it could be like that, losing somebody very close, just in 1 second you feel like a deep loss of something. That's very possible. So also sometimes imagine that somebody who is working in the office that you hate to work. So you every day, or at least 5 days a week, every day when you go to work, you feel like you just hate to go there. Just think about like how many hours that you feel that discomfort, stressful, dislike. And if you keep on losing that 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, in some point you lose gradually like that. So there's many different ways in which, like you can lose it gradually or you can lose it suddenly, and it can happen either way. So the next question is, do we need to do ceremonies, rituals to do the soul retrieval, or do we can follow these like webcasts and these instructions, guided meditation instruction, and do by ourselves? Again, you can do both ways. So as I explained in the book, there are very specific traditional way of doing a soul retrieval. Well, let's say this way. I'm not saying like this is not a traditional. There are different systems, like what we call causal vehicles, Juitikpa, and in that system, there's a lot of rituals involved, and the approach is a little different. So the losses of soul sometimes seen as stolen by a spirit, stolen by somebody, the outer forces or outer beings, spirits, other entities. So when there's a belief like that, so when sometime in those cases, there are particular rituals called soul retrieval rituals. So basically, it involves a lot of it involves full set of rituals. So I think they're very powerful, no question about it. And for some people, that might be very beneficial to able to do that. And but for some other people, not necessarily doing that ritual, or not looking from that sense of dualistic approach, like there's somebody else who is stealing your soul, rather than you are not being conscious of your essence of your mind, therefore you're losing your quality, therefore you're losing your soul. It's something that happening in you because of lack of awareness and disconnectedness, or unable to process the experiences of life. And that's what's happening just in you, rather than blaming to the ghosts and spirits and other entities. So there's a different approaches. Basically, this both way is possible. So of course, in these last many months, that my emphasis of the teaching of the true source of healing of the book, it's not ritual related. So it's very much more that you will able to retrieve your own soul as following these instructions. So I would say, it depends if how you feel. So for example, if somebody who really feels like there's external forces, there's somebody there out there, entity who's disturbing them and stealing them, if I tell them there's no one there who's stealing your soul, they will not believe me. They'll say, no, there is that specific kind, the specific kind of name, character, and everything. That's how they strongly believe. So then for them, they have to work with that level of understanding. But then another person who does not really believe in that, who clearly sees that my losses of my connection to myself, it has something to do with myself. But to that person, if you're trying to convince, oh, there is a ghost who's doing it, it will be hard also. So it's very much like a different level of understanding. So so that's that. And then next question. I try to go home So I try to go home, referring to going toward inner refuge. Do I have to force, or do I just naturally enter into? So that's important. I think important. It's also that think about this, like every single day, all of us, we go out. We go out to, to work, to whatever you're doing. You go, you travel. End of the day, you come back home. End of the day, you come back home. You can be going for a day, 2 day, week, month, but end of the day, you come back home. We all need to come back home in real life. And we kind of know what that means. Wherever you feel home, if there is specific place that you feel home, you come back to that place. And those you don't have feeling specific home, then it's a little bit challenging. They kind of wander too long in different places. Because most of the time we come back home. So same way in the practices, that no matter how much you are suffering, no matter how much you get lost, no matter how much you are disconnected, some point you got to come back home. You have to come back home. You have to come back to the source, and you have to realize how much you're losing, how much you have lost, how much you're disconnected, and how much you can heal yourself by coming back home. So I think this concept of coming back home is very important. And so the question is, should I force it or not? Absolutely, no one should force it. No one should force it. But again, it's very easy to say don't force it, but we all force it. Like when I'm guiding meditation, probably many of you are trying really hard, and some of you are trying maybe not that hard. Some of you are not trying at all. So some of you are just hearing the voice, guided meditation, and just able to enter right away in that state. So it very much depends on each individual, but general concept is not to force at all. So in the teachings, it says meditation without meditator is the greatest or great meditation. What does that mean? There's always, if there is a sense of self who is separate from the meditation, then that's duality. But if there is a sense of self, not only there is a sense of self, but the sense of self who is suffering or putting so much effort, painful effort to be aware, or painfully trying to be joyful, or painfully trying to be happy, or effortfully trying to rest. So this is what we usually try to do is, painfully trying to be happy, effortfully trying to rest. And with effort, you cannot rest. With pain, you cannot feel joy. So if you allow joy, let joy, allow the pain, let the pain go, joy will arise. Allow the effort and be aware of the effort, let effort go, and the restful will arise. So in the end, what I will say is try not to force. So when I say try not to force, then you will be trying, and if you're trying too hard, then you're already forcing it. So it's a game of mind. You have to kind of really be conscious within yourself, or if it's anybody who's meditating, I'm seeing something. Is this anybody who's looking? Is this anybody's putting too much effort? Always trying to be aware of that. Whenever you see, aware of it, it will help to naturally relax. But if not, breath is very good way to trying to let it go. So the next question here is also a little bit about, is there a relationship between the stillness of the body and emptiness? Emptiness, like as we pray. This is Claudia from Germany. And is there a relationship between silence of the speech and the light? Is there a relationship between spaciousness of the mind and the great bliss? So obviously, there is a relationship. That's why in the prayer, that's why we say, I take refuge in the body of emptiness. That's why when we practice in the how you say, the three precious pills, or bringing attention to the body, stillness of the body, you're introducing to the first refuge. Bringing attention to the silence of the speech, you are introduced to the second refuge, which is the inner light. Bringing aware of the spaciousness of the mind, you are introduced to the third refuge, which is the great bliss. So why the stillness of the body introduces the body of emptiness, silence introduces this light or the awareness, and the spaciousness introduces the warmth, because there is a connection. So these connections are, of course, one can talk a lot about it, but it does not help so much to talking a lot about it. But it's more like if you practice, like when we did the guided practice, we spent quite a bit of time doing the practice. So being aware of the stillness of the body, then being aware of the inner stillness, then gradually, probably the amount of time we did the practice is not long enough. We have to do very long and deep, that you really feel the step up. When you bring your attention to your body, you feel immediately like your body is like a great support for your mind, like a walking stick. That one who cannot walk very well, the moment you give the walking stick, they feel the stability right away, or able to get up and stand and able to walk. So same way, the moment you bring attention to the body, mind immediately feels stable, but that stability only coming from the attention to the body. And when you master it in a little bit, then some point there's no need to draw attention to the body, because the stability is within mind itself without drawing attention to the body. So that's what we call inner stillness. And that inner stillness, if you rest deep enough, then only you feel the spaciousness of the mind, or you feel the emptiness of the mind. That means basically what we are referring here is the unbounded sacred space of the mind. So just feeling completely open, unbounded openness. Or maybe another way to say that will be feeling free. Freedom. Feeling fearless. These are the experiences of freedom, fearless, confidence. So they're very much experientially very much connected. The stillness connected with that body of emptiness and the silence. For example, the silence. What interferes the true awareness? The true awareness is the awareness of self, yourself, a true self. So what interferes that is the voices and thoughts. So when you have a thought, or like thoughts of like I'm afraid, I'm lost, I'm sad, that thought obscures the true awareness, because that thought is looking, I am lost, I am sad. The one who is producing sadness is not you, but you're identifying with that pain. Therefore, that identity, it's a form of your thought, or it's a voice, inner voice, who's keep on talking continuously. The moment that inner voice stops or inner thoughts is less, just very natural, you feel like a sense of presence, but sense of clear presence. Maybe sense of clear presence is like a example. Sometimes I give example of a Friday afternoon instead of Monday morning. 9 o'clock Monday morning, a collective professional pain body. There's no clarity there, no sense of freedom there, no sense of joy there. There is a pain, discomfort, very much like pervaded your being. And Monday morning, it's very difficult to be aware of your true self because you are too connected with your professional identity, professional pain body. Maybe Friday afternoon, a little better, but it's not compared to a full meditation where you have self-realization. You can, of course, not compare Friday to that. But when there is absence of that pain body, there is a pain speech, or in this case, pain speech, more likely there is a presence of that light, the awareness, because it just naturally allows. When the clouds are not there, it's very natural for sun to shine. Sun does not need to put any effort to shine when the cloud is not there. So that's the relationship. So the third one is the same thing, same principle. The warmth arises because cloud is not, sun is shining. Sun is shining because cloud is not there. So there clearly these connections are there. And then let's see, maybe a few more questions here. So one question is from Jose from Spain. So this is an important question. It's sometime when we talk about like cutting ego or clearing ego, or even in some cases like destroying ego. So the question is like, sometimes there are many people who really do not have a clear sense of their identity. So it's a question of do we need to build a healthy ego before we transcend it? Do we need some sense of clear I before we overcome or liberate from that sense of I? So that, I think, it's a very good question. Maybe it's difficult. Exactly, the answer is maybe it's difficult, but maybe I would say some sense that there are a lot of people who clearly is lost in a sense of there are a sense of self, their sense of their role, their purpose of their life, and even when they draw a specific attention to their job or anything, they're kind of very much lost. So because they don't have a sense of clear identity, and so maybe in some cases for a person's well-being, of finding some sense of purpose and a clear sense of identity might be helpful. But on the other hand, also sometimes people identify with the weakness. They are lost, but their identity is lost. People who are sick, for example, there are some people who they're always sick, and then they kind of like to be always sick also, because they have most of their friends are through that sickness. maybe they have a club that joined with that through that sickness. Their friends that they talk about that sickness, but somehow they identify with that also. So if they strongly identify with those weaknesses, I think then it's important to overcome that. But when somebody does not have any identity, neither in the weakness or in the strength, or good or bad, then maybe sometime I think maybe it's helpful, like specifically the people who are working in the psychology, and maybe you meet many of those kind of people. So I think maybe it's helpful. So, but still, I think as a practices, you still do the practices of the three precious pills. So you're still trying to rest through your body, rest through your speech, and rest through your mind. I think as far as three precious practices, meditation of three precious pill does not change. So maybe this topic is a little complicated, and I will probably not go too much into it. I think here we are like almost, I think we can close. So maybe let's do this a little bit. So I think now we're going to, since it's also here in Delhi, it's like a 1:36 in the morning. So I think it's a good time to close this. 2015 online events, Saturday, October 24th, 3 p.m. New York time. I think you see it there. This is a webcast we will be doing from Virginia, from Serenity Ridge. And everybody welcome to join that one. And then Saturday, November 14th, New York time, True Source of Healing, part 10. So the power of the warmth, physical healing. So that we have been, so we, on let's see, beginning of November 14th. So November 14th is this particular practices that we will introduce, is more working with the physical pain, actually physical pain, literally physical pain. That in my experiences, that when we introduce the inner refuge practices, and people who have physical issues, and when they work through that physical issue through the inner refuge practices, incredible outcome results, the healing powers. So we have designed this specific for that. So we will be doing on November 14th, introducing that, and also then there will be, if those who are interested to join also with the Glide Wing, the online workshop. Also, there will be more longer specific focus and a longer versions of that practice on that physical practice, I said, the healing of the physical pain or physical illnesses. So we'll be guiding that more. So you will get more information, those you're interested, both in glidewing.com or ligmincha.org. So these are the next 3 events. So I think that's all. Now I wanted to, as I'm here in Delhi, I did not know first how I was going to do this, and Raji is here and who have helped. I wanted to thank you for helping setting up here in Delhi. And so now we will do the dedication. Chabne sola denjen dobar shogo son nyando yeje jebar sho to son dane go son tobar sho Ranje tone jena bembo. May I attain great confidence in three refuges. May my experience and realization of the wisdom of three-door increase. In purifying three poisons, may I obtain three bodies. In liberating my own being, may I benefit others. Thank you.